Here's the Haya Centurion, 1/16 scale. It's taken a little while to get it out and get it finished, but just about there now, and it's going to be going into pre-order very shortly. Now, we've had a number of delays, things like pandemic and a couple of other technical issues, but we finally nailed it down and we got it finished. Now I'll start explaining about the model straight away, and we'll start with the running gear. If you look down on here, the road wheels are all rubber tyres. We have two types of road wheels, metal and plastic. These ones are plastic on here. All the sprockets, idlers, metal. The suspension arms are all metal. Both the road wheels have twin race bearings and simple screw off. I'll show you now. There's the one race bearing here, and the other one is in the wheel. You've got an inner and an outer race bearing, both separated in the middle of the wheel. That makes the wheel nice and stable, so it's that twist is reduced the twist and warp in the wheel.
Show me the wheel, the road wheel.
Now the
over there,
profile of the wheel.
People can see it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
As you can see, it's a nice accurate profile, accurate size.
And the rubber.
And it's a rubber tyre, which not too difficult to get off, but it a little bit of fiddle, but it does come off. There we go. Nice rubber tyres. And not too difficult to get back on. So there we are. Refit that one. There are race bearings on the idlers and race bearings on the sprockets. So it makes it a very efficient, very strong running gear. Now, we did do a demonstration with a video of this running around on grass. So far we've not thrown the track yet, so the tracks stay on. As I mentioned, the drive wheel, the sprocket, that's race bearings. The idler, also race bearings. The model will be supplied with metal tracks. There's no plastic tracks for this one. We decided it was just simpler. That was the more reliable. Most people seem to be happier with the metal ones, so we've just gone for complete metal tracks. It runs well enough on the plastic wheels, or as they all have metal sprockets, metal idlers. The choice of road wheel is up to the customer. The suspension is the Horseman suspension that was on the real thing, and it works exactly like the real thing. You have all independent, all working Horseman suspension. You can see on the wheels under here, there's your suspension. Just like the real one, you've got the suspension arms, the extra arms at the front, on the front two and the rear two. You've got the arms on the outside there. Okay, so let's, it does have a metal toe cable. This one's just a test piece one. It will be a thicker, I think it's about 1.5 mil thick each wire, so they'll look heavier. They'll be more in scale. They will be in scale with for the model. Even these look a bit thin and a bit. But they will be better than this. Okay, let's open this up and have a look on the chassis on the inside. Ooh, if we can find the screws now, the opening screws, or the holding at the back, positioned either side under the chassis at the back of the tank. So they're one there, nicely hidden away. Unlike we had with the Chieftain, where we had the fuel caps on top, there's nothing actually to hide the screws underneath except to hide them under here. So it's not glaringly obvious where they are, but that's where they are. Let's just pop this one out. Get hold of it. Oh, maybe it's screwed in. One. Again, just like the Chieftain, you lift and slide back. Off it comes. Now, none of the systems in this one at the moment, so we can just lift that to one side. In the chassis, if you look at the base of the chassis here, you've got a honeycomb strengthening. That helps to alleviate warp in the tank. There is a little bit of warp, but it stops a lot of that, and it strengthens the whole hull of the tank as well. Okay, let's put this all back together again. It's a nice easy lockdown. It slots in nicely without any fiddling around with too much trouble. Okay. Next, have a look at the track tensioner. I've shown you that without. Let's have a look. The track tensioner is fairly straightforward. It's simply a suspension type spring track tensioner. As this pulls, the idler will regain that tension automatically. It can be set tighter or softer by a simple process of clocking that spring. By taking the spring out and repositioning it in, there's a series of holes to position it to determine how strong or how soft you want that tensioning, that automatic tensioning. So it keeps your track nice and tense and the right tension all the time. Right. Now, if somebody wants to take off something like the side skirt, because they are fixed, as you can see, they're not removable just by doing undoing screws and things. We decided on that partly for production moulding process, was it cost effective, trying to keep the cost down. To make it a separate one would have added extra costs, so we made it with the side skirts fixed. However, there is a definition line at the top here that follows all the way along, and cutting from the inside, if somebody wanted to cut it from there, a bit of careful cutting, they could take the side skirts off. Somebody good at the modelling can make it so they can reattach the side skirts if they wanted to. But if you wanted to convert the tank into, say, a Vietnam, Australian version without the skirts, they can be cut from the sides without causing problems to the rest of the hull. Okay, you have a working gun lock. gun barrel will go down to meet this, so you can display the model with the turret in reverse and the gun in the lock. It works just like the real one, almost. That just pops out, that opens up. The gun barrel, the spare ones, does fit the dimension. So it will sit nicely in the travel lock. Okay. As I mentioned with the road wheels, they've all got rubber tyres. So have the return rollers. All the return rollers have rubber tyres as well. I'll open this up again and demonstrate. As you can see, all have rubber. All the return rollers, rubber tyres as well. This way. We've tried to make this model modular as much as we could, within realms of keeping the cost of the production down. So there's a couple of things we've had to compromise with that we didn't with the Chieftain. For example, the toolboxes, unfortunately, the cost of having those opening like they did on the Chieftain, it just became too much to keep it within a reasonable price. So we've had to compromise and forego on the opening toolboxes. Those that like that, sorry, but we had to sort of focus more on the running gear, so the cost of that went into the running gear that was improved from the original running gear on the Chieftain. So we've improved that, but it was at the cost of losing the opening toolboxes. But we did try to keep some features in this that could be useful, and we hope will be useful for people who want to do variations of this. This is the Mark III, so the next version of this would be the Mark V-1. That would require a different roof, so we've made the roof a modular. If you take the turret off, you can remove the turret, same as all these models. You take the turret ring away, off comes the turret, and you undo 4 screws underneath, which then these release the roof of the turret. The cupola, there's a mechanism that gives you a 360 turn on the cupola. You can drive the cupola around from your transmitter, and that'll go either way, either direction, 360 degree. So you can remove the mechanism, take out the cupola, place it in the second roof, put the mechanism back together, and that simply clips back in and screws back in. You just replace the roof. That is now Mark V-1 roof. Coupled with this, the gun barrel can also be easily swapped, simply by unscrewing it. Little feature from the days of the Chieftain. We found this a very useful item to be able to remove and for maintenance. So if you get a block BB or feeding cables for flash bulbs, whatever, it makes it so much easier if you can just unscrew the gun barrel without having to remove the whole turret. And you simply screw in the second gun barrel. This one's the B barrel, the B barrel fume extractor. So combine those two, you've got a different variation of the tank. There's an alternative fume extractor, bore evacuator. This simply clamps around the gun barrel. It's an exact fit, so it'll stay where you put it. You can pop that one off and put the 105mm fume extractor on. Clips on exactly the same way, so you can have either or. the convenient thing is the B barrel and the 105 barrel are identical. All they did was simply rebuild the barrel to make it into 105. So that gives you 3 different guns for 2 different barrels, and these will cover a whole range of different variations and different marks of the Centurion, simply by altering the guns and the roof. And these can be swapped at any time. You can change these again and again. Another little feature at the front of the tank and the glacis, you've got spare track for this version. These brackets, I've loosened this one, they come off, so there's 2 screws inside. That removes that. That can then be replaced if you wish. You've got the driver's windscreen, his little windscreen visor that sits here, that's the storage box. So that will mount exactly the same place and exactly the same screws. So you simply take that bracket off and replace it with the screen. Or if you want any other version, these can be simply unscrewed, removed, and you've still got a bit of spare track as well. Useful. But then these holes can be filled if you want to do another variation of the tank that doesn't have tracks or brackets at the front. That's not a problem. Next, you've got the drivers. The on-off switch for this, same location in the driver's position. Oop, I can open that. Stay open. There's your on-off switch down here. The episcopes in the driver's hatches actually rotate. One of the curious things about the Centurion is they were rotated, so these would face upwards so they could open the hatch completely, or as wide as the Centurion hatch would open, driver's hatch. So the episcopes will rotate, and we've got the detail of the episcope. Nice little extra detail in there. Okay. For infrared fans, we have the connection up here in the drivers. Sorry, the tank commander's, the cupola. Just trying to think what I'm doing with the apple now. The apple plugs in. Now this does still rotate. The cupola will still rotate with the apple in position because the plug doesn't move. That cupola rotates around the plug. However, if you put a figure in just on top of that, the cupola is going to rotate around the figure, which isn't too clever. So the solution to that is a little tray that clips in there, so the figure will sit on the tray and then rotate with the cupola. So it's not going to twist up any wires or cause any problems with the infrared connections underneath. Simple as that. The system for this model is a FlySky Clark board. Let's get it over now. It'll be coming with this transmitter and a Clark board inside the model.
Yeah.
Well, there we have it. That's initially the, well, that's the Centurion, the Haya Centurion. I hope you enjoy it. I hope you like it.